Words of wisdom, words on leadership, goal setting, productivity, and a whole lot more. I trust today that you'll consider this like a vitamin or a mineral or a supplement for your heart and mind. And wherever you receive podcasts, would you please subscribe to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom and leave a brief rating and review. It would be very, very helpful, especially for those of you who listen via iTunes, but you can go to Stitcher or any of those places. It's a rainy, casual day where I'm recording this today, and this is a question that would not only apply to, or a podcast that would apply just to leaders. This would especially be important for self-leadership, and that is how to improve. It seems to be that what sets many people back is not so much their failures and things they've done wrong, but it's their successes. Whatever your endeavor is in life, if you early into that have a lot of success, as wonderful as that is, it can really cause you grave difficulties because you'll begin to think that you know it all, you have it all figured out. You don't have to grow, you don't have to improve, you don't have to learn and get better. And sometimes some of the worst things that can happen to people is meet a success real early on in a project. Now, I'm not just saying I hope you fail and fail miserably. I'm not. I want you to succeed. But even when you succeed, always understand you don't know it all. As a matter of fact, as I'm looking for candidates for what I'm looking for, I'm asking this kind of a question in my mind. I want to know, what has this person learned since they know it all? After they came to the fact that they're pretty comfortable with their skill sets, their schooling, what they know, have they learned anything? Now, especially this is for leaders. We have to improve. One of the difficulties today is many of us love security. We love having a neat little toolbox with our skills and tools in it that seems to work. But these days are unlike any days, and if everything has to be for you like it's always been, you're going to be miserable. You're going to really, today, to be a leader, have to develop what I say. You're going to have to get comfortable with discomfort. So I'm going to list, let me see here what I have, about 8, I believe, ways for you and I to improve. And one of the areas where most people, many people, I should say, need to improve is in the area of being decisive. Time after time after time, I'm called into situations where the reason we are in the situation we are in right now is because no one wanted to make a decision. Everyone thought or was under the impression that they could kick the can down the road. Or as when I grew up, we had alleys out behind our houses that we played in and where the garbage man picked up the garbage. There aren't many alleys anymore today. And we would play kick the can down the alley. Unfortunately, I get called in because they've lost the can and there's no more alley. And no one wants to make a decision. I think too many of us are more concerned about safety than we are being a leader and making the most prudent decisions. In any moment of decision, the best thing you can do is the right thing. And rarely is the right thing always the easiest thing to do. So let me make sure that when I'm saying be decisive, I'm talking about being decisive, doing the right thing. It is always time. I might even go so far as to say, it is past time, my brothers and sisters, to make the right decision. It's always appropriate, it's always prudent, and unfortunately, it's a reflection of the way we are living today that the right decision seems oftentimes to be the bold decision. But I want to tell you what the worst decision you can make. Are you ready? I want you to write it down. The worst decision you can make is to do nothing. Somehow we think that doing nothing is buying us time and it's just forestalling an inevitable decision. Go back to high school or to college to the class you took called logic, and indecision is a decision. And in far too many places where I hang out, I see folks who think they're putting off, they're going to wait for a better day, wait for the more money, wait for when the clouds lift. And the fact is they're just paralyzed by fear to make a decision. And doing nothing is always the wrong, I shouldn't say always, but most of the time is the wrong thing to do. You need a bold decision, but first, before you get bold, make sure it's the right decision. I have this other thing. Now, there are very few things in life that are irrevocable. There are some. But if you're needing to make a decision, quit stalling forever and come to this understanding: almost any decision is better than no decision at all. I didn't used to think that, but in the endeavors that I'm involved with today, I can almost see where years of no decisions have almost ruined people and places. So make a decision. Even if it isn't going to work out beautifully, you can back up, redo, tweak, make a mid-course correction. But could you not just try to do something if you are the leader? Paul Tillich, a philosopher and a theologian, said, decision, I want to read it to get it correct. Decision is a risk rooted in the courage of being free. If you're going to be a leader, you're going to have to make decisions. And every decision you make has some risk to it. But it's rooted in the courage of being free, meaning we can make lots of kinds of decision. So it's one of my latter ones that's coming up on how to improve will be courage. But be decisive. The cure for most of the obstacles in your life today boil down to this: you need to make a bold decision. That's the number one way I think you can improve, is to be decisive. I think the second thing that leaders need to develop is a sense of awareness. None of us are perfect. All of us are developing. Do you know? Are you aware of your surroundings? Are you really listening to what people say? Do you have a self-awareness? Do you have an awareness of the interactions of the folks around you in your organization? If you're going to improve, even if it's just incrementally, begin to develop a sense of awareness, especially in the area of self-awareness. I think the third thing that I'm going to say is learning. I believe that's what I want. I have 4 things that I kind of understand about learning, because I'm basically not at this time talking about going to school, and I've gone to school many years of my life and am for it and believe in it. But I'm talking about the learning that needs to take place practically, maybe when you have somewhat completed your college or university education and you still need continuing education. But I'm talking about experiential learning and learning and leading an organization. I think one of the things, besides reading, you hear me talk about that all the time, and going to seminars and listening to other people, that is all fine. But you can be one of your best teachers because you have to carve the time out in your schedule to read and to learn. Because of the proliferation of things that are on the internet, you can go to almost any seminar, workshop on almost any given subject. Taking podcasting and vlogging. Most everything I've learned about that, I've learned through watching a video and someone teach me. So I'm not meaning that you are the best teacher, but if you're going to learn, it's up to you to find the places, to find the people. You have to be the one who makes it a priority. Here's the second thing about learning that is so vitally important. You have to accept responsibility for where you are right now and stop blaming. And don't blame anyone. Yes, we all can sing a "somebody done me wrong" song. But the fact of the matter is, let's accept responsibility for ourselves. We can change. We can get better. We can find the answers. So in learning, I want you to remember, you're the best teacher. You got to find the material. Quit blaming. I could have made something. I could have been a contender. I could have done this, if only this, and they would have helped me. Quit accepting responsibility. Quit blaming your parents, the preacher, the teachers, the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker. Start assuming responsibility for yourself. The third thing about learning that I want to say is you can learn anything. Now, you say, you don't know me. Well, there are a lot of things that I might think I can't learn, but it's because I either don't have the interest or the desire. You can still grow. You can still expand your gray matter. If it's something you're really serious about, you can learn it. I mean, I had no idea how to podcast, how to do all these things. But I decided I was going to learn. And at times, the learning curve is almost straight up. But you can learn if you really, really want to. And understanding that some of your wisdom and some of the knowledge that you have comes from reflecting on your own experiences. I think one of the areas of my life that I really wasted was I really didn't reflect a lot on certain experiences, both good and bad. And I'm finding in these days in my life, as I reflect on certain experiences that I have or I'm going through, that I have really found some nuggets of truth that have really helped me. Oftentimes it's helped me what not to do, what not to say, but I have to reflect on what I'm doing. That is a part of learning. If you want to improve, leader, you're going to have to learn how to deal with conflict. Now, if you tell me you get up in the morning and you really anticipate and look forward to conflict, I would think there's something wrong with you. Surely no one loves conflict. But if you're going to be in a leadership capacity, even in the home or wherever, conflict is inevitable. And again, I'd go back to the first part of our time together, and that is you're just going to have to make some bold decisions. You were called there to see what God wants you to help accomplish. And that is, don't be a bully, but don't back down. And if you're wrong, say you're sorry. If you're right, stand by principle. The problem today is we have lots of places we don't have principle-centered leadership. We have leadership based on feeling and personality and what the culture says and all of those other things. Find out what you believe and what you really believe in and what you believe to be right and stick with it. Don't go out of your way looking for conflict. But I cannot think of any conflict that I am aware of that got better by being unattended to. You have to solve it. You have to bring the parties together. You have to, with the best of your ability, seek to get it resolved. I think if you're going to improve, you're going to have to learn and develop. And there's wonderful seminars out there on how to resolve conflict, how to deal with conflict. You would owe it to yourself to take advantage of those materials. The next one that I would say is if you really want to improve and improve as a leader, this is one that I have struggled with most of my adult life, and that is listening. I have 2 ears and 1 mouth, and that's probably the ratio that God intended. When you're an extrovert and you love to talk like I can talk with or without information, and you have a tendency to talk over people, I'm asking right now for God to help me learn to listen. And I have come to this realization, you can learn from anyone. You can learn from a child. You can learn from anyone if you're willing to stop and listen and evaluate what they say. You want to improve your leadership? I've already mentioned it here. I'm coming back to it. Courage. If you're going to be a leader and make decisions, you're going to have courage. Sometimes it's lonely making decisions that are unpopular. Sometimes people will say all manner of things against you, and you really don't have the platform in which to respond. But because you are where you are, just read biographies of courageous women and men, but you're going to have to trust and be courageous and do the right thing and be decisive. The last two are very important, and I'm going to maybe give them just a little briefer of highlighting. I would say to you, regardless of your age, find a mentor. The times in my life when I grew is when I had people as a mentor. There was a district superintendent in northeastern Indiana years and years ago when I was very young named Bruce Taylor, who nearly scared me to death, but ended up being a gentle giant and really taught me a lot. Not because he said, I want you to take notes and write this down, but I was able to spend time with him, listen to him, and more importantly, watch him in action. In the latter days, the first time that I moved to Indianapolis, R.B. Atchison, who was almost twice my age, very successful in what he had accomplished, was a mentor. Again, he didn't say, read this book and take this exam. I just listened to him and observed his life. And even at the age I am today, I'm always looking for a mentor that I can learn from. The reverse is also true. Find someone that you can be a mentor and a coach to. And the last thing that I think you need to know about if you want to really improve where you are today, and that's be flexible. I'm almost thinking that of all the symbols that may highlight leadership, perhaps one of the most unsung illustrations is a pretzel. You're going to have to learn to be flexible. Remember when I said years ago, nothing much changed, everything stayed the same, and we all got comfortable as this is what you do here, this is what you do next. But we're in uncharted territory where everything seems up for grabs, and past experiences may not carry the same weight today. Now, I'm saying before you can be flexible, you have to have a firm foundation and know what you believe and why you believe it. But you're going to have to learn how to be flexible.